Hi, I'm Rosanna, and I'm here to answer those questions that you beautiful people have been sending in time and time again.
What is your biggest regret?
My biggest regret would be not valuing myself, especially at the time. I think because it was my lack of self love, I just went along with it. And I sold myself short. I wish I didn't do that.
The man that did this to you, have you heard from him since?
No, I doubt I will. But wherever he is, I hope he's in a better place now.
If your father knew then what he knows now, what do you think he would do differently?
I don't think there is anything that he could have done differently because he didn't really do anything wrong. I mean, when people show you their face at the beginning and it's completely different to what it was after marriage, what is it that anybody can do? And what my father did was come and rescue me, which was what I needed the most. And I don't think he did anything wrong because he gave me that support that I needed. And I wouldn't change that ever.
Have you spoken to the person who introduced you to your ex since your blog has come out?
Well, the way we were introduced was very different. So it was a work event. He was brought along by my manager and we literally got speaking. So it's not really his fault and he's got nothing to do with it. That's his best friend and him and I don't speak.
When your ex told you about his forced marriage brought on by his mother's emotional blackmail, did you not question her motives or her state of mind?
No, I was really young myself. I just felt sorry for him and I wanted to be that encouraging friend. So his mother was not somebody that I thought about at that time.
When you told your father that he would need financial help for you to marry him, didn't your father object? What did you tell your dad to convince him to let you marry someone who needed financial help?
As I was very dear to my father, obviously whatever I wanted, he would give to me. And I wasn't one of those demanding, bratty children. So when I went up to my father and I said, Dad, I've never asked you for anything. All I want is a home. And I actually like this guy. He's very hardworking, but he wouldn't be able to afford to marry me. I think obviously my father did have doubts, but because he believed that he made a mistake when I was 18, he wanted to do everything right by me. He wanted to support me no matter what. So even though there were alarm bells, my dad just went along with it.
What was initially stopping you from going to your family for help? Were you protecting them or were you trying to hide it because he was your choice?
Oh, I'd say a bit of both. Obviously, I didn't want to go to my family because let's just say if they knew an ounce of what was happening, he wouldn't be walking around freely. In fact, he'd be 6 foot under. And also, I really loved this guy and I wanted it to work. I wanted to be a wife. I wanted to have his children. So I would do anything it would take to make it work. And whenever he did hit me, there was a part of me that felt like he would change and he would be a better person. Especially because I saw the other side of him before we got married. There was hope inside me that he would change.
Why didn't you hit your mother-in-law back? Why didn't you defend yourself?
Firstly, I think it would be wrong for me to hit her back. I saw her as my own mother, and if my mother was hitting me, I wouldn't hit her back. Um, in terms of defending myself, I lost 2.5 stones. I was very weak. And when she chucked me to the ground and she kicked me the way she did, I think at that time, defending myself was not what was going through my mind. It was, I am so weak that this lady is able to do that to me. Um, and again, in my head, because he was stood right there, I was submissive. Um, I was looking at him for hope, expecting him to stop it, but he didn't. Um, as much as it angers me now, at the time when I think about it, it was as if I was trying to prove to him that I'm taking everything for you. What more can I take?
Why did your dad go along with the things that you were telling him to do? Why didn't he put a stop to it?
My family and friends know that I am a person of my word. When I say I want to do something, the only person that can change my mind is myself. And this was my marriage. I wanted to do everything to make it work. So they felt like I needed to make that decision for myself. But at that point, they didn't know that the girl that they were dealing with had lost her self esteem. And I do know, had they known that I was not the same person, my father would have come and rescued me sooner.
On the 12th of March, what was your father doing outside your home, and why were your brother-in-law's hands covered in blood?
This is a question that I get asked a lot. When I wrote my blog, what I wanted to do was just tell my story. And I didn't really want to get into the nitty-gritty details, but I knew that at some point I will have to explain them and talk about them. Now, from my father's version of events, I know that he was called and a trap was set up. He was told that his daughter was going to be killed that day. So he came to save me. My brother-in-law's hands were covered in blood because my father told me he had a knuckle duster and he tried to get into the car. I assume he injured himself while he was trying to do that. So when he ran into the house, obviously I didn't know what happened, I just saw blood. But that's where the blood came from.
You mentioned that your brothers are into boxing. How come they didn't do anything to the guy? I know violence isn't the answer, but it's sometimes needed.
Oh, this is a difficult question. Let me just tell you that my brothers are younger than me, and my instincts told me to protect them. I've always been the elder sibling. I've always looked out for them. And if you are the eldest and you have younger siblings, I'm sure you will understand this. You wouldn't want them to do anything to get themselves in trouble. And I wouldn't want to see my brothers in a cell or in a bad place because of me. They have got the rest of their lives in front of them. And I kept my story hidden for a very long time. In fact, they found out the truth, or what my story exactly was, when all of you found out. My parents had no idea, my brothers had no idea, until I went on national TV and said that I was a survivor of domestic violence.
Don't you think your brothers had a right to know what was going on?
Of course they had a right to know, but I had a duty to protect them. And whether it's my brothers or any brother, when they find out that their sister has been through pain, their immediate reaction, because they would be hot-headed, is to go and kill that person. I didn't want that for my brothers. I mean, only recently I spoke to my brother, my youngest brother, and let me tell you guys that my entire family found out when you all found out. They had no idea that I went through a domestic violent relationship. They knew that I went through a bad marriage, and at that time they were controlled because they thought that I loved him. And, you know, I told my brothers, don't do anything to the guy I love. Now, when my youngest brother said I failed as a brother, it slightly broke my heart, but at the same time I said to him that you didn't fail because you've done more than a brother does. You supported your sister. You've made her feel like she is worthy to live. You've encouraged her to become that strong person that she once was. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I've answered your questions. And if you have any other questions, feel free to stick them in the comments below.